Hello everyone, this is Global Elections UN. For today we will show you the polling data from South Korea, Poland, Argentina, and straw poll results from those three nations, plus Ecuador. We start with South Korea. The final results of the straw poll for the Seoul Gangso district head election are as shown. So there we have, those are the final numbers for the straw poll for that election. We have Jin Yoon of the Democrats on 48.50%, Kim Tae-woo of the People Power on 36.48%, about a margin of 12%. And then the other candidates, Kwon Soo-jung of the Justice Party 8.58%, Kwon Ae-in of the Progressives on 3.86%. Those were the final results. More detailedly, overall numbers same. Jin Yoon 48.50%, Kim Tae-woo 36.48%, Kwon Soo-jung 8.58%, Kwon Ae-in 3.86%. But however, there were some differences based on which platform the people have voted, has taken their voices. In the YouTube community tab, the margin of Jin Yoon was around 7.4 percentage points, which is much more narrower than the overall margin. And in Twitter or X, Jin Yoon has claimed victory by around 30 percentage points, which is much more larger than the overall margin. So, and in Facebook, due to low number of voting, Jin Yoon had a win over Kwon Ae-in by a double margin. Anyways, on YouTube it was Jin's 47.62 to Kim's 40.21, and in Twitter X it was Jin Yoon's 51.22% to Kim Tae-woo's 21.95%, and Kwon Soo-jung pretty strong here with 19.51%. And in Facebook it was Jin Yoon's 66.67% to Kwon Ae-in's 33.33%. And those were the straw poll results, final straw poll results for the Seoul Gangso district head election. Next we'll check the NBS barometer poll that was out today. Here we have the headline that should be talked in this poll is that the Democrats has taken the lead since, for the first time in many months. Looking at the graph, there's no single poll, no single period that the Democrats led until today, and the Democrats still within the margin, that is still within the margin of error, but has taken the lead with a margin of 2.4 percentage points, about 2.4 percentage points over People Power. In the exact numbers, we have Democrats on 46.65%. That is up 3.79 percentage points from 2 weeks ago. People Power 44.26%, down 1.51. Justice 4.63%, down 1.78. This poll was conducted between the 23rd and 25th of this month, and the size of samples, the sample size was 1,006 adults all across South Korea. And the figures that we are showing you on the left is the one with excluding the undecided voters, so that is why it differs with the numbers on the graph. Let's take a look at the political mood of last week in South Korea through the opinion wave index. So 2023 October week 3 opinion wave. First, the party rating. When you look at the party rating, the Democrats made the difference between the people power more larger and significantly more larger than the last week, than the previous week. We have the Democrats on 44.57%, people power on 33.91%, justice on 2.78%, others on 2.87%, undeciders 14.87%. The Democrats increased about 3.2 percentage points, people power decreasing by around 2 percentage points, and the Justice Party pretty steady, undeciders pretty steady, and the others shrunk a little bit. And this is a rating for South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol. We have approval on 33.86%, down about 3%, 3.2 percentage points. Disapprove 62.39%. Undecided 3.75%. I believe that figure for President Yoon Suk-yeol is the lowest since we have started tracking these type of polls in June of this year. So pretty bad looking for President Yoon and also the people power as well, as they have suffered a pretty big defeat in the Seoul Gangso district head election. The margin was, I believe, around 17 percentage points. That was pretty much more than expected, I could say. But however, that is a political mood of last week of October, which is October's 3rd week. We will be presenting another set of data of opinion wave for this week on Sunday, I believe. That is the plan as of now. Now we move on to Ecuador. The straw poll results for the second round, the final one, will be presented. Daniel Noboa, who won the actual presidential election, obtained 43.00% on our straw poll. And Luisa Gonzalez wins in our straw poll, not in the actual presidential ballot, but Luisa got 57.00%. That is 14% more than what Daniel Noboa obtained in this set of data. And together we have again 57 to 43 on the popular vote, but however it certainly differs by which social platforms the people voted, as well as Seoul Gangso district head election straw poll. And when we look at this in the YouTube vote, we have Daniel Noboa winning by a thin margin of around 3.8 percentage points, but however in Twitter X, Luisa won by around 30 percentage points, over 20 percentage points, which is really huge. And on Facebook, similar pictures with the YouTube voting, 51.70% for Daniel Noboa, 48.30% for Luisa Gonzalez. And for the presidential straw polls, we are also giving out the electoral vote numbers as well. In the electoral vote, much more narrower. Luisa for 2,645 electoral votes, Noboa 2,349. For this set of electoral vote, we have just counted as a winner take all per platform. So in the YouTube voting, Noboa took 498 electoral votes. Louisa took 2,645 in Twitter, and Noboa takes another 1,851 votes in the Facebook. For Poland, we'll check out the straw poll results and polling data of United Surveys, the first to be out after the general election a few days ago. So we'll check out the final straw poll numbers for before the election 2023, and we have the Civic Coalition winning by pretty thin margin of around 8.5 percentage points, 8.52 percentage points over United Right, certainly, but the number still pretty much differs per platform as the other set of data has shown for the other countries. Anyways, let's look at the numbers. Civic Coalition 35.65%, United Right 27.13%, the left 22.20%, Confederation 9.86%, Third Wave 5.16%. These numbers are the overall results for the straw poll. And moving on to the YouTube results, actually United Right has taken a win here, has won in the YouTube voting. Right 45.51% and the left on second place, interestingly with 23.35%. Civic Coalition back as third with 16.77%. Confederation 8.98%. Third Way 5.39%. In Twitter X, Civic Coalition won by a pretty handily margin. Civic Coalition 47.45%, the left 21.57%, right 17.65%, Confederation 7.84%, third 5.49%. And in Facebook, due to low participation, the numbers are a little bit odd, but however, Civic Coalition wins over Confederation by a margin of 4.17 percentage points regardless. Civic 41.67, Confederation 37.50, left 20.830 for both right and third. And here is the United Surveys results, poll results. They were out, I believe, yesterday. This poll in particular was taken between the 20th of October and 22nd of October, and the sample size is 1,000, exactly 1,000. And the method of this poll was 50 CASI, 50 TAWI, and excluding the undecided, we have these numbers on the left. United Right 33.88%, Civic Coalition 30.89%, Third Way massive at 19.32%, Confederation 6.71%, the left 5.58%. Compared with the last poll around 2 weeks ago of this pollster, we have right falling by 2.78 percentage points, Civic pretty steady, up 0.41 percentage points. Third Way skyrockets up to 19.32%. That is up 9.12. That is almost a double of the previous poll. Confederation 6.71%, down 2.40 percentage points, and the left 5.58%. That is pretty terrible. They are only above the threshold of 5% for single lists by only 0.58 percentage points, and they are halved compared to the last poll, down 5.48 percentage points to 5.58%. And that move is seen as a reflection of the government formation going on, which seems that the left could be out of government, as around 9 MPs of the United Right could actually cross over to join the government, and that means the left could be out of government, and that would result in unfavorable mood, as the left was probably seen as to be joining the government after this election, after an opposition win in the general election last week. But however, the unexpected move around that United Right is causing a very great damage for the left. But however, that is being a very good opportunity for the third way, as they are obtaining many ministries in the new government. And lastly, we move on to Argentina. Let's have a look at the final straw poll results, plus 2 new polls after round 1. Straw poll results for 2023 October. We have Patricia Burrich 12.81%, Juan Ciaretti 6.84%, Sergio Massa 17.23%, Javier Milei 61.70%, Miriam Bregman 1.42%. A massive win for Javier Milei in terms of the straw poll of us. But we know that Sergio Massa eventually claimed a win in this first round, which was seen as unexpected by many media outlets, I believe. But however, that was pretty much expected, as a close race was suggested by us in the final projection. It was around 2 percentage point margin, certainly within the margin of error, and that was extremely close. So that means that Sergio Massa had a very great chance of winning over Javier Milei. The details numbers. Oh, by the way, this straw poll was conducted between 23rd and 25th, so it was closed in yesterday. Overall numbers again: Milei 61.37, Massa 16.81, Burrich 13.44, Ciaretti 7.03, Bregman 1.35. Oh, actually, these are actually the top line numbers are actually the previous thing that we have shown you on our community tab as of first day. So apology for that. But however, the voting results for each platforms is accurate, I believe. So let's take a look. In YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook, all those 3 platforms are all won by Javier Milei, but the margin significantly differs per platform. In YouTube, around 37% margin victory for Milei. Twitter only less than 4%. Facebook, biggest margin here, 63% margin. Again, on YouTube, Milei 56.41%, Massa 19.23%, Burrich 15.39%, and Ciaretti and Bregman tied at 2.56%. In Twitter X, Milei 32.42%, Burrich 28.75%, Massa 20.39%, Schiaretti pretty significant at 16.15%, Bragman 2.29%. And in Facebook, we have Millet on 78.15%, Massa's 15.39%, Burrich 3.86%, Schiaretti 1.90%, Bragman 0.70%. This set of results will be reposted on our community tab and Twitter page and Facebook group, as there seems to be an error on the top line numbers of this particular slide. And let's take a look at the round 2 polls of CB and projection next. First, for the CB poll, it is Millet's 50.73% to Massa's 49.27%. Compared to the last poll, Millet is down by 0.38 percentage points, Massa up 0.38. This poll was conducted between 23rd of October and 24th of October, and the sample size is 1,715. And certainly the undecideds are excluded, as some of the percentages for Millet and Massa adds up to 100%. When we look at the polling numbers more deeply, it is pretty interesting. When we look at these numbers deeply by how each voters of each candidate in the first round is turning out for either candidates, Massa certainly maintains 99% of his vote. Millet maintains 98.2% of his own vote. And taking a look at the Burrich voters, we have Millet winning 46.6%, Massa winning only 14.1%. And Schiaretti voters, interestingly, even though the Schiaretti voters pretty much, Schiaretti himself leans towards the government than the opposition, but however the voters are turning out differently than the stance of the party overall. Interestingly, Schiaretti voters, Millet 37%, Massa 26.5%. And then Bragman voters, that is pretty much expected. Massa turning out for Massa 52.7%, and only 1.1% of Bragman voters in round 1 supports Millet. And for those voters who did not cast their votes or just left the ballot blank, we have Javier Millet winning more voters than Massa. And when we look at the image of these two candidates, we have 38.5% positive rate for Millet, 37.1% positive rate for Massa. Pretty similar, but however, in terms of the negative rating, we have a little bit more bad numbers for Massa, 55.1% negative for Massa, Millet on 51.8% negative image. So Millet around minus 13, Massa around minus 18, but that does not differ that much. And it seems that both Millet and Massa is turning out more voters than the votes than the amount of voters that thinks each candidate is positive. And we want to note that the situation will probably move in favor of Millet soon, as Burrich and Macri, the former President Macri, formally endorsed him hours ago. So the next numbers that we will show could be an outlier. So look at it cautiously. Progression poll. Massa leads Milei by a margin of 13.2 percentage points. Massa 56.60%, Milei 43.40%. Massa up 2.1% from the previous poll, which was taken around a week ago. Milei down 2.10%. I should say that this reflects the victory, properly reflects the victory of Massa on the first round, but however, it seems that it certainly does not reflect push of Boric and Macri, and also the Republican proposal that occurred today, certainly, as this poll was taken between 23rd of October and 25th of the same month, which is actually exactly same with the CB poll that we have shown previously. So it is pretty interesting to see how the numbers differs, even though the conducting date is exactly same, and also the sample size is pretty similar. In terms of this pre-election poll, the sample size is 1,459. And looking at these numbers more deeply, again we have Massa voters retained by 97.3%, and Milei voters retaining by a rate of around 91.5%. Actually, according to this poll, Massa voters are more staying in the column. And in terms of Boric voters, pretty narrower than the CB poll numbers, around 24.1 to 14.1, still favoring Milei. And CRT voters, interestingly in this poll, exact opposite pictures. Massa 42.3%, Milei 10.8%. And Bragman voters, Massa 59.1%, Milei 10.1%. And the voters who cast their ballots blank or did not cast their ballots, it is actually turning out in favor of Massa and Milei, 22.3 to 16.1. This is pretty much different with what the CB poll suggested. Certainly in the direction of voting in CRT voters and blank non-voters. So pretty interesting to see, and we'll probably know which poll was more accurate in the next week when we have more polling data out reflecting the endorsement of Boric and Macri, and also the righter wing of Republican proposal. And this is it for today. For any question, leave it on the chat and I'll answer for it. Okay, for that comment of that my Poland friend, I have noted that the straw poll is not a real result, so it could be certainly off from the real results. But still, it is pretty interesting still to point out that the percentages ended up pretty pretty similar in terms of extended coalition, but whatsoever that those straw poll numbers are not that important. But however, that is what the voters internationally would probably turn out to be. So it could certainly differ with what the voice of Poland, the Polish people, is. I think there's no questions to answer, so we'll end here. Thank you for joining on our live stream for October